The bride of the forest spirit. It was the sound that got to me first. The heavy thud, like something dragging itself through the thick brush. It was almost too loud to be real. I was with my uncle, Obi, when it happened. We'd been in the forest for hours, gathering firewood for the village. It wasn't the first time I'd walked through those woods, but that day felt different. We were near the edge of the forest when we heard it. First, a quiet rustling, like something moving fast in the trees. Then, the thud. A sound that shook the ground under our feet. "Stay close," Obi whispered, pulling me to his side. I didn't want to ask what it was. Everyone in the village had heard the stories about the forest spirit, the one that had taken brides from our people in the past. They said it had a bride, a woman who lived between the world of the living and the dead. But no one spoke of it openly. The old people warned us to stay away from certain parts of the forest, but no one really believed in those stories anymore. That was until I saw her. She came out from behind a tree, pale as moonlight, wearing a dress made of leaves and vines. She was beautiful, but something about her eyes felt wrong, empty, hollow, like she wasn't really there. My uncle froze, and I could feel his body go stiff next to me. Then, the thud came again. I turned to look at Obi, but he was gone. One moment he was standing there, and the next, there was nothing but the echo of his footsteps fading away. I looked back at the woman, and she was closer now, her face twisted with a strange smile. I wanted to scream, to run, but my legs wouldn't move. She reached out, her fingers cold as ice, and the thud came again. I was dragged into the forest, deeper than I've ever been, past trees and shadows that seemed to move on their own. I couldn't see anything clearly, only that woman leading me, pulling me toward something. Finally, I saw it, a large stone circle, covered in moss and old carvings I couldn't understand. The ground was wet, and the air smelled like earth and decay. The woman stopped and turned to face me. Her smile was gone now, replaced by an expression of sadness, like she was waiting for something. Then I heard it, the faint cry of my uncle, calling my name. It was distant, barely a whisper. And in that moment, I knew he wasn't coming back. The woman spoke, but the words didn't make sense. It was like a language from a time long ago. She stepped back and gestured for me to kneel. I didn't know why, but I did. Her hands were on my shoulders, guiding me down, until my knees hit the cold ground. The last thing I remember was the thud again. It was right behind me, and I knew I wasn't alone. The forest wasn't just a place anymore, it was something alive, something hungry. When I woke up, I was back at the village, lying on the ground near the edge of the forest. The sun had already set, and the air was thick with silence. My uncle was gone. I searched for hours, calling his name, but there was no trace of him. Some nights, when the wind blows just right, I hear that thud again. And sometimes, when I look out at the trees, I swear I see her, standing, waiting for me.